Hell is ubiquitous. Almost every religion has an afterlife, a place you go when you die. Whether that's a punishment, reward, or my personal favorite, neither, there is somewhere to go when you die. Why is ritual burial so universal? Why is the underground and death so closely linked? What makes Sheol different from Hades, different from Naraka, the Celestial Kingdom, Pandemonium, Gehenna, Mishkan, or hell, even hell, but with one L? I'm obsessed with hell. I love religions, studying them. A religion is a cultural microcosm. It's all of these values, hundreds of mores bound up by parables and ritual and reverence. To make things more difficult, religion, even if following the same text, splinters when interpreted by different communities, by different individuals. To recreate a religion this robust when we write, when we build worlds, is an impossible task. But we try anyways. I have a hell in my world, of course I do, but my idea of hell was flexible. It changed depending on my mood. I found it difficult to have one hell that could represent all people on Earth. One hell that could unify humanity. My solution was to split hell into thirds. 3 major regions, each meant to embody different aspects of mourning. Nod, land of the hateful and violent. All of the things in life that made you angry, that made you resent other people. This is classic Christian hell, Pandemonium, Lakes of Fire, Bad Boy Lucifer types, you get the gist. Asphodel, city of envy. All the dreams you never got to achieve, all the people you despise for doing the things you always wanted to, the things everyone else thought you should be, what you wanted to be. An endless dead city with impossible architecture. And Limbo. Limbo, this is the place I find myself most fixated with, but I know very little about it. A glass god lives here. I don't know what that means, but it sounded cool. Limbo is about mourning and depression, futility and oblivion. It is the place the dead are first reborn. It is the place all the dead go to die. Limbo is endings. It is decay and despair. And I want to learn more about it. I was talking with my friend the other day, and they mentioned some stuff about their experiences with depression, and I don't know, it was really interesting. I never wanted to commit any kind of self-harm against myself. I mean, I have dealt with depression, but only in the way an otherwise healthy person would, right? Like, I've never had clinical chronic depression, or the myriad of other diagnoses that run in tandem with it, but they were talking about this, and I guess I feel like I'm abnormal when talking about depression and self-harm. I feel like most people don't like to talk about it. They like to pretend it isn't real. I never had that luxury. Suicidal ideation and attempts were not uncommon in my childhood. I mean, with my family. Because of that, I don't really have the taboo most other people do when discussing it. I don't find it very helpful to whisper about it, or pretend it doesn't exist, or to shame the people involved. It's a thing. It's a bad thing that we have to deal with. So it's better we deal with it and talk about it than the opposite. I like people, and I don't want them to die. And I think demonizing them won't help them live. As we were talking about this, telling me about their experiences, I had a vision. Okay, that's dramatic, but I did get an image in my head. A woman wearing black with a broken porcelain mask. I sketched it out while we talked, and it was a bad sketch, of course, but this is what I drew. My friend said the mask looked like it was made of glass. Holy crap. It was the glass god. I had no idea what she looked like. I wrote it down years ago, and I hadn't touched it since, but my friend encouraged me to figure it out, and show them what the glass god looked like. As soon as I got home, I got to sketching. I found some pictures that matched the thing in my head, and went to work. The glass god of the Glass Palace, a complex of greenhouses and research facilities in hell. I knew all of this, of course, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it until then. I remembered the thing that got me into the idea of Limbo in the first place. I cracked open my cheap Barnes & Noble's copy of Dante's Inferno, and right there. Forest of Suicides by Gustave Doré. This is what limbo always was. The thing I saw in Over the Garden Wall, the thing I saw when playing Minecraft, the thing I see in a myriad of surrealist photos. This was the first time I could see limbo clearly in my head. I could feel the fog forming dew on my hands, smell the brittle air spiked with ozone. I could hear distant sobbing, and see a woman lying by a tree, just crying. All of these pieces were coming together. I could see limbo, I could see the palace. Finally, after all this time, and here I was creating the glass god. A week later, I finished, and, Look, your brain is a machine, right? Or, I don't know, like a puppy. You have to reward it when you do something, otherwise you won't want to do it again. I did the one thing you are never supposed to do. I made the mistake of not rewarding my brain. I didn't tell myself I did a good job, I told myself it was bad. And what do you think happened? I didn't show it to anyone, and I stopped illustrating. I couldn't convince myself to get back into doing it. I couldn't find the energy or the motivation. I would sit down, I would still try to draw, but nothing I made was good. Nothing was up to my standards. So I stopped. Recently, this past year, I've been trying to become more attuned to my mental needs. I mean, mental and physical, but I found my physical needs much easier to conquer. Is my jaw sore? Go and grab some broccoli. Are my arms tired? Time to do some pull-ups, but how do you realize when a part of your brain is tired? How do you tell when a piece of neurologic machinery is in disrepair? That's the question I've been wrestling with. That's the thing I've been trying to solve. Sometimes, as an exercise, when I'm bored, I ask myself, if you could do anything in the world right now, what would you do? Usually I get a clean and simple answer, and then I do it. I want takoyaki, and I want to eat it right now. Alright, pack up your stuff and head to the Bao place. Or, I want to pet my baby dog. Done. This time, though, after a week of wanting to do something creative and consistently being unable to draw, when I asked that question, I got something different. I got an image in my head of nice, clean UI and a brilliant art style. A game. A specific kind of game. But I realized my brain wasn't asking to play a game, it was asking to make it. Well, I was looking through my things you might want to do list and saw, that card game I worked on last year. I got into a design block and couldn't get past it, so I put it down. I committed myself to solving the design goal, to bring that thing further into development, and to finish the game design so I could finally move on to the art and UI. And I did. For like a month, maybe more. All I could think about was that card game. Hyperfixated and intimately attuned to every text, to all the feedback I was getting, I finally got it to a point where I could bring in more testers and call it a full prototype. I was able to give my brain the thing it needed. It scratched the itch, and I was all the happier for it. The next day, I felt like I wanted to draw again. My friend came over. We wanted to do some watercolor. I drew some dude. He looked cool, and I was proud of myself. I rewarded my brain for doing art. I didn't even bother to color him in. I was already thinking about her, about my glass god. As soon as my friend left, I picked up the tablet and went to work. I wanted to finish her. I felt excited and eager to get back to her, to try and fix what I did wrong, and to finish her design. I got more pictures and did a sketch. It felt promising. It felt good. I felt like this could be her. I felt stupid when I was doing this, though. I was mad at myself. Really? This was the thing you needed? Some time away? Another project to put yourself into? You couldn't just figure this out a month ago? That self-critical part of me. He loves to find the things I do wrong, to chastise me for it. But I know how my brain works. I know it isn't helpful. So I reframed it. You needed to exercise another part of your mind, the part that deals with systems and code and design. You needed a break. This isn't failing, it's a lesson. This is an opportunity. Clichés are only cliché because they're true, because they're so obvious. Wow. She looks stunning. I think this is the best thing I've ever done, man. Like, from a technical standpoint, I don't think I've ever done something better than this. This is the Glass God. Who she once was when she was living, I don't know. She isn't one person, I know that for sure. Many people live inside of her. She is the amalgamate of tens, maybe hundreds of minds forced into one body. She is the protector of the depressed, suicidal, and the abused. Tormentor of the abuser and patron of those who live alone, those who never wed, and those who become widowed. She oversees memory and funeral rites, a god of dreams and gardens. In real life, my culture, its religion calls the suicidal selfish and evil. They shame them. I want this to be the inversion of that. This is the god who sees their pain, their numbness, and still chooses to open her heart to them. My mom used to tell me stories, what happens after we die. She said there was a place for people like her, people who couldn't stand to live. A glass palace ruled by some all-good goddess. The god there, she would pick them up from out of the woods, show them how to deal with living and what death means. She would give them a strength they never found on Earth. My dad said people like her who did it, they just ended up as trees. That they had to be punished for being selfish. I don't think he ever really took the time to understand what she was going through. This glass god, broken but standing, shattered but refuses to split, refuses to fall. I think that's pretty cool. After I saw what she looked like, it made it a lot easier to develop her domains, to see her place in the various cultures that worship her. I want to imagine a culture that understands self-harm as an illness and not a failing, not as selfishness, but as a struggle. But I'm not designing a utopia, I'm designing a world. And as with our world, there exists multitudes. I decided the glass god has several different interpretations. The more cruel of humanity, the leaders of religious bodies who despise not suicide, but the suicidal, see her as a god of punishment. I wrote down that the charitable view of the glass god is more common up north, in what we would think of today as Schweiz, Austria, southern France, the Balkan states. And the less charitable view would be more common in the south. Greece, Turkey, Italy, Spain, Algeria, those areas. I don't know why that is. I don't think there is any real reason. I wanted to simulate religious diversity, and I drew an arbitrary north versus south line. In the south, they believe victims of depression are punished by being turned into trees, and that they will spend eternity in a state of grief. And I think that makes everything a little more interesting. That you could travel a few countries over and find that your religious ideas are alien to another. For example, when I grew up, I was taught that the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, were the same God. In order to preserve monotheism, my church, my culture, had to account for this, and decided that each aspect was a different face, a different personality of the same God. When I met a former Mormon, they told me that in their religion, the Trinity was in fact not 3 in 1, that they were 3 distinct entities. Their church had no problem with polytheism, or maybe they didn't think of it that way. Maybe they believed that God could still be the only God, even though multiple deities existed. They didn't seem to have a problem with it, and I think that's really interesting. So when we design gods, we should be aware of this, that different sects could have views that feel apocryphal to the other, that people in the North feel that helping victims of self-harm through empathy and understanding is more effective, and that people in the South refuse to speak about it, because they feel giving attention to it will only make victims more likely to succeed. Of course, the people in the North are right on this one matter, but doesn't that also create interesting conflict for the reader, the viewers? That if placed in the southern part of this world, they would be appalled by this belief. If we wanted to make a really evil villain, that they would support and espouse this philosophy, and it would make our audience hate them even more. That a hero who worships the glass god would cause our audience to like them more. And if our audience sees someone with the image of a fern on their jewelry, then they'll know. Ah, this guy gets it. This guy worships the glass god. He must be nice. This is why world building is useful and isn't just for fun. It's not just nice set dressing, it's a tool we can use when we write, or illustrate, or run a D&D game. We're giving ourselves options. Unlike real life, hell is real in my world. It is a physical place that has rules, and this god is a real god. Despite all of these differing opinions, there is actually a correct answer. The truth is that all under her domain are sent to live with her, regardless of suicidality, and those who find living to be too much turn into trees. Not as a punishment, as respite. In time, all those who wept themselves into trees will come out of it, and they will find life again with the glass god. She is rehabilitative, she is kind, and she understands that the depressed have had punishment enough. I like this idea of hell being more than just punishment, more than heaven. It's not about removing pain or being tortured, it's about overcoming it. It's about reflecting on the life you've lived and learning how to finish being human, how to complete it. That everyone gets a chance to be the best version of themselves. Unfortunately, hell in its current state is in a bit of disrepair. The old gods died many thousands of years ago, and hell's leadership is scattered, but eventually, everything will be fixed again, and everyone will get a chance to finish being a person. I'm making this video for you, yes, but I'm making it for myself too. A way to document this process, to remind myself that I am in fact not the worst, and that I can do good stuff. That breaks are needed, and that putting down a project doesn't mean you'll never finish it. I think as artists, you and me, dear viewer, it's easy for us to get caught up in everything we do wrong, in all the ways we aren't good enough, in all the ways other people are better. I love Gen Z's work, Ben Zonk, Gustav Doré, Simon Stoltenhag. We live in an age surrounded by giants. These brilliant people who do amazing things, and it's a blessing. Of course it is, but how often do we let ourselves be inspired by these people? And how often do we use them as an excuse never to try? Why was making a Minecraft video the thing I needed, the excuse I was waiting for, to do the thing I always wanted to? I'm not done learning yet. I never will be. But each year that passes, I feel a little better. I learn a little more. I'm so excited to see the person I'll be when I'm 30, when I'm 40. What will he look like? What will he know that I don't yet? Jesus Christ, despite how low I can get, despite how numb I can be, there are moments like this, just this brilliant, overwhelming joy. Moments where the clouds are dark and the wind is cold, and I can smell the ozone in the sky, and it's beautiful. I'm so happy to be alive and living now. But I wonder how long that'll last.